Thank you. Thank you, Afelele, for starting the recording. Let me switch back to Zoom. And good morning, colleagues. Good evening from my side. Greetings from Canada and a warm welcome to the 2023 HELIG AGM. I hope that you are all well. And I just want to check quickly, can I share my screen to bring up the agenda? Am I able to share my, let me just check. Something happening. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet, Chair, but I think it's loading.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So let me start again by welcoming everybody to the HELIG AGM for 2023. I hope that you are all well. We have just before the recording started determined that we do quorate, so we may continue with our meeting. So welcome, and I'm displaying the agenda on the screen right now. I just want to check whether the LIASA president is in the session already.
No, not yet. He'll
Not
be joining us soon.
Okay, okay. So Nazim has indicated that he has limited time this morning. And so he will be presenting an update on the restructuring process, and we have agreed that that presentation will happen before our AGM and before we get into the business of the day. So while we wait for Nazim to join, could we then move to confirmation of the agenda? Colleagues, I'm displaying the agenda. Can I get an approver and a seconder, please?
Okay, Ingrid here. I approve the agenda.
Thank you,
There
Ingrid.
aren't any additions as far as I can see that need to be made.
Thank you. And a seconder, please.
Nora here, I'll second it. Nora Buchanan.
Thank you, Nora. Okay. Then I'll move on to attendance and apologies. Teresa, I'm not sure, did you receive any apologies?
No, Chair, nothing came through to me.
Okay. Well, I will just pause for a moment. If there's any apologies, then members, you may just inform us by typing in the chat if you received any apologies from members or noting. I'm struggling to see the chat.
We're like this. No.
I am watching the chat. I don't see anything yet.
You muted, Chair.
Thank you. I'm unable to see the chat at this stage. I'm hearing background noise, colleagues. I'm not sure who's unmuted.
And the president has arrived, Chair. I see him
Okay.
in the... Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So then I would like to welcome the LIASA president, Nazim. A warm welcome to the Hillig AGM. Hello. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Welcome, Nazim. Good to see you.
All the way across the ocean.
I'm extremely tired. it's going for midnight my side, but I'm happy to be able to be part of the session and to run the AGM this evening, and it being morning your side. So warm welcome to our AGM, and the floor is yours to provide us with feedback on restructuring. So I will stop sharing my screen to allow you to share your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me, and good morning, everybody. I see familiar names in this AGM, so those of you who've heard me say this many times, you can just ignore me, unless you've thought of other questions. So, and again, thank you for the opportunity to speak about what is an extremely important topic. I've kind of evolved the what I say, not necessarily the presentation, in the last couple of days as I've been attending other AGMs and the people have been asking questions, making comments, etc. So if you've been in a previous one, I might be saying things that's a little bit different to what I said the first time around, because again, I've taken some of those things on board. So what I'm going to present this morning is essentially what I did in the LIASA stakeholders meeting, and what came out of that meeting, concerns raised, etc. And as I said, what I'm talking about sometimes is taking on board things people have asked me or commented on in the various AGMs thus far. So getting right into it, this is the structure that we're all familiar with. It's a structure that's been with us since the day of LIASA's birth. In 2016, the need was identified to revisit the structure. There were concerns raised around the structure, whether it was working for us. And out of the Western Cape's branch AGM stemmed the motion eventually that spoke to the need to restructure, which was then accepted and approved by the LIASA AGM. And so what we then put on the table, and this was presented by the immediate past president, Nikki Krauster, was the replacement of EXCO and REPCO by a board that branches and interest groups, the way we know it, would fall away. Interest groups, in a sense, would continue, but in a different form, and basically looking at sectors. And and that there would be a secretary to take on board some of the things that would now no longer be part of EXCO and Rep Council in a sense. And so when we look at the structure, the way it would look in terms of that first slide, this is what it would look like. You'd have the membership, which would still be the highest decision-making body. You'd have a board, and you would have the secretariat. Secretariat, when Apalele moves to the next slide, you'll see encompasses the LIASA National Office, the way we know it now, plus a couple of other functions that would then move into that specific little block. Don't spend a lot of time on it because it requires quite a bit of funding, which we obviously don't have at the moment. And so to all intents and purposes, this will become an ongoing conversation in terms of how to get this off the ground. So in light of all of that, what we have put on the table still speaks to that proposed structure, because that was accepted. And I want to start off by saying that we have put a motion on the table. We have made certain decisions. Our intention at the time was not to put the association at risk, but there is some risk attached to what we have done. But that was never the intention. So LIASA is a professional body. As a professional body, it is a status that is afforded to us by SAQA. It gets renewed every 5 years. Was initially afforded to us in 2014 to huge acclaim and fanfare. It was renewed in 2019, and it now is up for renewal in 2024. In the 5-year period till the next renewal session, there is a midterm review and assessment of a professional body. We have just come out of one. So in 2022, SAQA visited us, looked at LIASA, its governance, etc., looked at what we had available, and then delivered a report to us in early 2023. And there were a couple of things that they found lacking, which we have fixed. But one of the things that they have noted in their report to us is that a lack of a board being in place. They noted this, although they also noted that at present they are okay with the structure that we have, because we do have a representative council, which in essence functions as a governing structure. But it then obviously alerts us to the fact that this is something that we do have lacking in terms of our governance structure. And if you understand where we come from, our replacement of the EXCO and the REPCO, it aligns to King 4 principles, which we have always maintained is what we are aligning to. And that's the report on good governance. And if you look at principle 7 on the screen, it refers to the appointment of boards. So if you look at the structure that we've proposed, there is the proposal that there be a board, that it be elected by the membership, same as we would have done for EXCO and REPCO. And we are proposing that the term of office equals 3 years. Again, that's a proposal. It's the AGM who will decide whether that is what they actually want. But I think our initial thinking was around, we need this to get off the ground, and 2 years is maybe not a good period to actually get something off the ground, and therefore we've looked at and proposed a 3-year term. If we look at, if you go to the next slide, so if we look at the composition of the board, what we are proposing is a board of 13 members. They will represent, or will have representation of all the sectors, and that there would be subcommittees that would support the work of the board. which include things like finance, risk, and governance, etc. But I'll come to that a little bit later. In terms of the actual members of the board, there are elected members and there are members that will be appointed. So in terms of the elected members, the proposal is that there is a president, much as we have now, that there is a president-elect, and that there are 5 sector chairs. So the sectors relates to public libraries, higher education, which is where we are now, school libraries, special libraries. Sorry about that. So those are the elected positions. In terms of the appointed positions, the Liasa office manager, which has always been an appointment, would be on the board. And we are then proposing that there are 5 additional members appointed to the board. And these 5 additional members would speak to experts and expertise and required skills that we need on the board that we currently don't have. Some of these expertise, there isn't an exhaustive list at the moment, but some of the expertise at the moment, because we're doing away with things like a treasurer and a PRO, for example, we might want to say that currently on the board, there is no expertise in terms of finance, that we need expertise in terms of advocacy and marketing, etc. But it would really depend on who is on the board, what are the skills we're looking for, and what do we actually need at that time, and look then at appointing people with those appropriate skills. Having said that, there would obviously then also be a guideline as to what are the skills that we are looking for in the expertise. In terms of the other governance substructures, there would be an executive committee of the board, there'd be a finance, audit and risk committee, a nomination committee, and those 3 committees would be made up of members on the board. Furthermore, there'll be a CPD committee, a professional body committee, as well as a community of practice advisory committee. And those 3 substructures would have people nominated into them, but they would be led by somebody from the board. One of the things that we have recognized in terms of the restructuring is currently it doesn't make allowance for things like exit, for example, which is not aligned to a specific sector, but is something that is something that is required across the field. So regardless of the sector that you're in, it is something that's really important to us in terms of who we are, what we do, etc. And it's something that the chair has asked us to not forget about, something that we have flagged, and it's something that we need to build into the structure moving forward. If you can just move up, Lele. Okay, so that's what I've just mentioned now. So because of all of what we are looking at here, because of the whole assessment of our status as a professional body coming up, we have put a proposal on the table. As I said, it was first noted at the stakeholders meeting. If you had attended that meeting, there was some concerns raised around it. And on behalf of EXCO and as the president, I again want to say that our intention was never to put the association at risk. If we have made mistakes in this regard, then we do apologize. I do apologize. But that was never the intention. The intention has always been to get us through this process, to get restructuring dealt with, and for us to have a new structure for us to move forward with. But having said that, there is a particular risk because we've got to face the possibility of what if AGM does not approve what we're putting on the table? And that's really where the risk lies. So what we're putting on the table is that there was a meeting in May with the representative council regarding the restructuring process, its impact on elections. We also had noted in that meeting, and also prior to that, that we had engaged an attorney to look at our constitution, the restructuring, the structure, and what the impact would be on the constitution. In order to make constitutional changes according to our current constitution, which is still what we're working with, you have to give a 2-month notification to the members. And in the current scenario where we found ourselves, because of the delays in this process, the AGM, which is scheduled for next Thursday, the 12th, we weren't able to give effect to that. Because Rule 18, that's what it dictates that we've got to do. Because of that, we have placed a motion on the table. The motion can be viewed on the website under the AGM documents. And what we're basically proposing is that at this AGM next week, that we are wanting to adjourn a portion of the AGM, specifically related to constitutional changes and elections in light of restructuring. We're wanting to propose that that portion of the AGM be adjourned to the 28th of February 2024. The adjournment itself is permissible in terms of our rules, and specifically Rule 3.9. And this would then allow us time to finalize all of the changes that will come into the Constitution, to be able to actually share that with the membership 2 months before the time, as per the current Constitution. But because of all of that, that any elections for 2023, at a national level, at a branch level, at an interest group level, would then obviously be postponed. You would not have seen any notices around elections. Together with all of this, what we then furthermore proposing is that the current ExCo, and we're talking specifically about the elected positions, so we're talking President, President-elect, Treasurer, PRO Secretary, remain in place, and their task would be to complete the restructuring process. The motion has slightly changed from what we originally wrote, with input from Ellen Thijs, Nikki Krauster, and Leila Vahed. What you see on the website now is very different to what we had written. The initial proposal from our side was that the Rep Council, and specifically the incoming chairs, remain in place while we finish this process that we're proposing. But the current motion reads that it's the elected 5 people from ExCo, that we add an additional up to 5 members from the current representative council, plus a maximum of 5 more nominated ordinary liaison members. And that those people will form the interim council, and they will be there until the implementation of the new structure. Basically, what the role of this council would be is that they would prepare one for the adjourned portion of the AGM, which we are asking to be on the 28th of Feb. At the meeting of the 28th of February, we are then obviously working and hoping that AGM will then adopt the proposed constitutional changes, by implication in the new structure, and that the interim council will then set a date for a special general meeting. That special general meeting will then allow the interim council to prepare for elections. At the SGM, the council will then dissolve, and following those elections, the people who are then nominated and voted into those positions will take office at the end of the SGM. The SGM itself must take place no later than 3 months after the adjourned portion of the AGM. So the adjourned portion would be the 28th of February 2024, and by implication, we're saying that the SGM must happen by no later than the 28th of May, 2024. A couple of things just to note that isn't on the slide, and things that have come up in other AGMs that I have attended. The nominated members, that's something that needs to happen very quickly after next week's AGM, and quite literally, in my view, we're talking about days. People will then avail themselves for that possibility of being included on the interim council. We would specifically be looking for people with skills in terms of constitutions, with some sense of LIASA as a structure, where it comes from, and also, and I think really importantly, that whoever comes into the interim council must have the support of the institution. It will be a very short period of time, but it will be a really intense period of time where things need to happen. One of the other things that isn't on the slide is that what basically is implied here in the way the motion is written right now, which is not what was there originally, is that, and it's a question that I've been asked, what happens to branches and interest groups as it is now? Legally standing, it means that if people accept the motion in the way it is currently written, it would mean that from a legal standpoint, there is no branches and interest groups. And I think initially why we had written that the representative council remains with incoming chairs is specifically to continue that. I do want to say that simply because the motion is written the way it is, it does not also imply that there cannot be motions from the floor as a counter proposal. So I do need people to go away to have a look at the motion, consider what is actually being written there, and to look at, are you happy with what is written there as a motion? Is there an alternative that you want to bring to the table? Here's a really scary part, and if this is not agreed to, basically from the stakeholders meeting, it means that in essence, there would not necessarily be a liaison. At the Western Cape branch AGM yesterday, Ellen has advised, and something that I will be doing, is to have further discussions with Leila Fayed, who, as you would all know, has served in more than one election as our electoral officer, has a lot of knowledge around the constitution, and how the association functions. And I will set up a meeting with her to look at what are all the alternatives that we have at our disposal to prevent something from that happening. Again, I want to say that our intention when we came up with this was not necessarily to put the association at risk. It's never our intention, never was, never will be, but it is something that has happened. And really from our side, I do want to apologize for that. Therefore, I think it is really important that we make sure that we attend the AGM. I think it is a crucial AGM where people need to be present, need to attend. If you are not able to attend, please ensure that somebody has your proxy. I'm not saying how you must vote. I'm just saying it's important for you to be at the AGM. We will be sending out probably something in the course of today as well, because I know it is something people have asked about. So if you can't attend the in-person conference, and by implication the in-person AGM, you will be able to attend it virtually. So we will be sending out a link to all the active members that would allow you entrance to the AGM. Remember, even if you're not attending conference, it is your right to attend the AGM as a member. It is a closed meeting, but it is the right of any member to attend the association's AGM. That's something that we have to do. So If you're not able to attend in person, please try and attend virtually. If nothing else, the AGM. If you're not able to attend either in person or virtually, make sure somebody has your proxy. I saw Ingrid is in the meeting, and it's something she implored people to do yesterday as well in the Western Cape AGM. So I'm going to stop there, and I am open to taking any questions and comments from the floor, and I'm going to turn over to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leasa, President, for providing us with an informative report on the current situation. Colleagues, I've got a question, but I just want to quickly find out from the floor, are there any burning questions? You may raise your hand or use the chat space. Nazim, just for clarity on one of the points that you made regarding branches and interest groups, what does that mean now after this AGM? Does this mean we no longer have a HELIC, or we still continue until next year when the election process is completed? Just clarity on that, please.
Thank you, Lynn. So this was the particular point that came up yesterday in the Western Cape AGM, and it was raised by Ellen Tice. And I think it was at that juncture that she had asked that there be further consultation from my side with Leila. Because in the way the motion is written right now, that's basically what it means. What it implies is that so legally there wouldn't necessarily be a space for a branch and an interest group. As I say, initially when we had written the motion, it was to make space for the Rep Council to remain as is with incoming chairs. And I think specifically for that reason. As I said, the motion was slightly redrafted following the stakeholders meeting. And that's why I'm asking people to go and have a look at the motion, engage with what is written there, look at what the implications are, because at the AGM, when this point is discussed, we need to thrash out these things and what the implications are. By that time, I would have had another consultation or consultations with Leila. And obviously, and hopefully bring all of that to the table as well. If there are things that I think has an impact on people's decision, I did make a statement at one of the other AGMs yesterday that we will endeavor to send out a communication to everybody in that regard, just so that everybody is in the loop as to what is actually being discussed, what is happening, etc. But right now, the way the motion is written, that's basically what it implies. As I said again, when people do engage with it, when people do look at it, what the implications are, you need to come with that to the AGM when the motion is discussed and actually put all of these things on the table. And if needs be, as it has happened in the past when motions are discussed, you are allowed to put a counter motion on the table. We would obviously then have to adopt the counter, and if it is agreed to, we would then vote on it in terms of the Constitution. So, but right now, that's where we find ourselves.
Okay, thank you, Nazim. So I guess I need to quickly update my final slide on my chairperson's report based on the new developments. Just so that I understand it, there's at the moment nothing with regards to an extended term.
Not right now.
Not right now. So we sort of just close our AGM
Until next week's AGM.
Until next week's AGM, until further notice as to what is the best way forward.
I saw Ingrid had a question in the chat. I think
okay.
so if I may, through you, Chair, I think, Ingrid, with those things that have been planned, because I've seen it on the calendar as well, I think let's be positive. I think that's kind of the comments that have come out of the AGMs that I have attended. Let's look at the positive side, and let's go on the assumption that AGM is going to agree to what we're putting on the table, even if there are modifications along the way. I don't think that anything should stop. ICBIS didn't have the question because I think at the time this wasn't necessarily on the table. It came out of yesterday's AGM, of Western Cape AGM. So the message that I gave to ICBIS at the time was very different to the one that I have now. And that's why when I started off, I said I have adapted some of the things I've said based on the questions that people have asked. But I think that even with the interim council, let's say that is what is agreed to, and let's say the motion is accepted in the manner in which it is written at the moment. I don't think that the interim council would, for example, say to everybody, well, you can't go on. We'd have to work our way around the legalities of, or the status of a branch in an interest group who has actually organized these events. But I think there is an expectation from members that there would still be things going on, that we're not necessarily going to be in limbo until all of this new restructuring comes into effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine. I
Yes,
agree
but-
with Ingrid that that is one of our concerns at the moment, because Helix got some lineup of events and projects that we would like to complete, and this sort of places us in a bit of an awkward position as to what is then the best way forward for us regarding, you know, our plans and wanting to complete and round up on a nice note and a quite a high note.
Yeah.
That's what Helix planned.
Let's put a note in that to say it would then all function via the LNO. And that would be the route we would take. Remember, moving forward in terms of the structure that is there, is that everything in a sense will flow from a central point. Again, I want to say, and something I haven't said thus far in this meeting, is that even with this new structure that comes along, and if it is accepted, and let's be positive that it is accepted, it's not to say that the structure that's going to come in its place is going to work from day one. I think it will have teething problems, and we'd have to work through all of that. One of the things that we need to be aware of in terms of how membership will work is that currently you, when you join or renew, you say, I belong to this branch, and you choose two interest groups that is within your field and or interest. In the to be, when you join or renew, it will be about which sector you belong to. So you would indicate the sector you belong to. When it comes to actually voting for somebody to take their place on the board to represent you, is about who is in that sector. So when you actually look at the voters' roll, is about these are the people that indicate I'm in the higher education sector. And when you look at the person that is going to be nominated and eventually voted for, it's about who is that best person that can take their place on the board and be there to represent higher education. So that's a big change in terms of how membership will work. And in essence, that's a big change in terms of even how programming rolls out. So again, there is no branches necessarily, but it would imply that things roll out from a central point. The idea being that what rolls out will be taken to more places. So at the moment, the way the structure works is you might have a strong higher education group, for example, say in the Western Cape, which it always has had. But it's not the same in the Eastern Cape or in Limpopo or the Northwest. So the idea is that what you have done as HELIC right now in the last 2 years, those are the kind of things that would still be organized in a sense. It would roll out from a central point and it would be taken across the country so that more people are actually able to participate. Again, I think when we also wrote all of these things way back when we talked about restructuring, it was life before COVID. In essence, the way we are communicating now has actually changed the nature of who and what we are and how we do things. So again, those are also things that need to be taken into account. One of the things that the attorneys, for example, has indicated to us is that they picked up that there are a lot of things in the Constitution, not necessarily in terms of restructuring, but in terms of where we find ourselves as in the world. So they picked up a couple of things that we even haven't identified, where they said, but this needs to be changed because this is not how the world functions right now in an electronic age. And therefore, have you thought about this? This actually needs to change in your constitution as well. And like Fatima has noted in the chat, I see, and yes, IGBIS is a different animal, I think, to HELIC and PACLIC. And again, I think it then, the way IGBIS works, in terms of how it structures things and how it rolls out things is very much probably the model that needs to be for every sector. Through your chair, Nora's question is, what happens to members who do not fit neatly into a sector? That's an interesting question, Nora, and I think it's something that we've thought about recently, and I would like to say I have the answer for you, but I don't have the answer right now. It is something that is flagged. And I think for now, it would have to look at, or when people look at a sector, it would most likely be the sector that you're more aligned to. That's the best I can give to you now, but it is an interesting question, and it's a dilemma that we have to sit with, and we have to look at how do we deal with that. And maybe I can then also say that even if you don't have a question now, engage with all of these things, go away and think about it, because it's a lot to take in. If you do have any questions, if you do have any concerns, any comments, etc., raise them either with Lynn as the chair or Larson as the chair-elect, or directly to me, and put it there, what this is, and on the assumption that people will accept what we've put on the table. This is going to take a lot of interaction with people. It's going to take a lot of consultation. It's going to take a lot of meeting space, feedback from people. So the more feedback we have, the better it's going to be. One of the questions asked to us at the stakeholders meeting was, do we think that this is enough time to do all of this? I would like to believe that yes, there is enough time within this plan that we've created. And certainly I want to say that we will do everything we can to bring it to fruition.
Thank you very much, Nazim. Colleagues, so there you have it. If you have any additional questions or it might pop up after you had some time to process it, please feel free to email myself or Larshan or Nazim your questions, and this can then be discussed further at AGM next week. Thank you once again, Nazim, for your time and for availing yourself to present a report on Liasa restructure at our AGM. Much appreciated. So nice to see you. So many kilometers away. But I wish you well for next week as well. And yes, I will try my very best to be present at AGM next week virtually.
Okay. No.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me again. And to those of you who are attending the conference, if need be, just grab myself and Charlie in the corridors if you need to pin us down and have a talk to us. I do encourage you to do that. Thank you very much. And all the best for the rest of you.
Thank you, Nazim, and all the best with conference next week. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye, goodbye, take care. Thank you. I need to share my screen again. Okay. Can everybody see the agenda?
Yes, Chair, we can see it.
Okay.
I can, from my
Great.
side.
Thank you. Thank you. Before the feedback, we had already confirmed the agenda and we were on attendance and apologies. I think we covered that as well. I don't know if any apologies were posted in the chat, Teresa. I did not receive any apologies on my side.
Not even on the chat, Chair.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I've been watching the chat, but I don't see anything.
Okay. Then,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Then we move on to personalia. Colleagues, I would like to congratulate all colleagues that have moved to new positions, obtained awards during the year, new qualifications and skills, and also where we have lost loved ones. Our thoughts are with you. This is also an opportunity for you to put in the chat, or if you'd like to just unmute and update us on new positions that colleagues have started this year or awards. You're welcome to do so, and so that we can add it to our minutes. So I just thought I'll do one general big congratulations to, I know there are quite a few new positions, starting with Hilly Treasurer, who joined the Northwest University earlier this year. Marupene, are you here?
He just joined.
Okay, okay. So congratulations on your new position. Also, well, your Helix chairperson has recently joined a new position at the University of the Fraser Valley. That's where I'm currently based now, in British Columbia, in Canada. And please do shout out the other updates. Not sure, is there anything in the chat?
Thank you, Chair. I think we also have our Molly used to be the Eastern Cape Helix
yes.
convener.
Yes.
And yeah, she moved to the UK. I'm just trying to check the name of the university.
Okay.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Molly as well on her new position. So, colleagues, thank you. Once again, if you have obtained any qualifications or awards, we wish you well. Keep up the good work. And congratulations to everybody on their new positions that they've joined this year. Then I'm going to move on to the minutes from the Helix 2022 AGM. Let me see, I was busy opening documents on my side. I hope it's not going to take too long. Okay, there we go. Are you all able to see the minutes of the previous AGM?
Yes, Chair, we can see the
Okay.
minutes.
All right, I'm going to scroll through the minutes. It was circulated. Page 1, if there's any corrections needed, please let me know. I'm on page 2 now. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. That's the last page. Can I get an approver and a seconder, please? Colleagues, do we approve the minutes? Dani, thank you. And seconder, Ntaba Singh, thank you. All right, so let me move.
Apologies, Chair. I'm trying to check the surname for Ntabi Singh. Which Ntabi Singh is it?
Ntaba Singh.
I just
You
saw.
can just confirm in the chat, please.
I just seen Ntabi Singh's iPhone, so I'm not sure. the surname. And Tavi saying if you can just please add your surname in the chat.
In the
Thank you.
chat? Yes, please. Okay. Thank you, colleagues. I'm just battling a bit to switch between windows here. Maybe I must, let me just stop sharing for a moment and just get my bearings here. Okay. We are on matters arising from the minutes. Colleagues, any matters arising from the minutes? From my side, nothing. And I'm then going to move on to the chairperson's report. And I'm just going to share my screen again. Just checking, colleagues, are you able to see my slides?
Yes, that's right, Chair. We can
Okay,
see.
thank you. Okay.
Slide.
Right, so to minimize this other screen that keeps on popping up on my side. All right, so colleagues, this is just an outline of the chairperson's report that I will be delivering this morning. So yes, the academic year started following a blended learning model for 2023 with an increase in on-campus activity. And what this meant for academic libraries were that support services needed to align with faculties and programs, with many following a hybrid library orientation program and information literacy training. Most of the facilities in the physical library spaces opened up, accommodating users that needed access to both print and electronic resources. Rethinking how best to support users in a blended learning model with the rise of the generative AI, ChatGPT, remaining a hot topic. Although it was still challenging times, it presented academic libraries with innovative and dynamic ways of supporting the university community virtually and face-to-face. The ongoing sharing of best practices among members and unpacking the challenges faced through a different approach, in particular, aligning with the South African Library Week theme this year, libraries telling powerful stories, were fundamental in moving forward, which was one of HELIC's focus during the 2023 period. Right, so on just an update on leadership, the table that is presented on the slide presents the HELIC leadership, which includes HELIC conveners, where these have been elected or appointed in the branches. And according to the HELIC National Constitution, the HELIC conveners are ex officio part of the National Committee. And the role of conveners is to initiate HELIC activities within the branches and to be the connection between the branch and Hillic National. We also have 4 additional members nominated, and their role is to support the Hillic committee with running special projects. So the following updates took place during 2023 academic year. As I mentioned, under personalia, the Hillic chairperson started a new position at the University of the Fraser Valley on the 11th of September and will continue serving for the term of office, whenever that will end. Our Eastern Cape branch convener has resigned from the portfolio earlier due to the new position started in the UK. And our Hillic treasurer also started a new position at the Northwest University. So, as noted in the previous AGM, several calls went out for our vacancies, and after we've reached out to members again, you will see that the areas highlighted in red indicate the vacancies in Hillic. I also would like to mention that in 2022, all Hillic committee members signed the Hillic terms of reference, committing to all activities and responsibilities. Right, we've had 4 meetings three this year. One started in December 2022, being the Hillic strategic planning meeting, and our second strategic planning meeting took place on the 4th of February. We had a quick follow-up meeting on the 24th of August and a special meeting, EXCO Hillic meeting on the 29th of September. Just an update on membership. Our membership increased in 2023. We currently have a total of 720 members. We have observed over time that quite a number of non-members continue to attend our webinars hosted by Hillic. And we have, in the previous year, considered a different approach to membership campaigns, including future webinar or event trailers on Facebook. Despite the considerations, Hillic events were hosted virtually in 2023. But it's good to note that we have certainly increased our membership in 2023 compared to 2022. With regards to advocacy, Hillic advocated for the profession by sharing and communicating new trends, interesting readings and events by means of the Facebook page, Twitter. We no longer use the Hillic Google group mailing list, and the My Lihasa space has been the new platform for also communicating updates to members, and we try our best to do so and to remain compliant with the POPI Act. Articles have been published on our activities in the Lihasa in Touch, and we do try to engage in joint workshops and webinars as regularly as possible. Our Friday afternoon coffee talks. This provides a platform where members can engage informally on hot topics, and these normally lead them to running workshops or training sessions when a topic is quite popular. And I'm happy to inform that the coffee talks remains a popular event. I would also like to, at this point, thank our PRO and our chair-elect for updating our social media platforms regularly with activities and trends. With regards to how we are doing on these social media platforms, the graph that you are seeing on the slide right now is presenting the two platforms, how we are performing. The blue line indicating Facebook, and the green line is our Twitter followers. So the blue line being the Facebook likes, and it is interesting and quite exciting to see that Helic Facebook page reached 1,000 likes already in 2023. This is very important as it shows that we are reaching our user community in different ways, which is important. Right, so with regards to our Helic events, the committee, as much as it's been a challenging year, the Helic committee remained committed to hosting events to develop the academic librarian profession. So the figure below, on the slide, illustrates the number of registrations to our events in the green line versus the number of YouTube views represented on the blue line. So colleagues, what this means is for our events that we are hosting, the green line is indicating how many registrations we receive. And after our event, the blue line is representing how many views of those events we have via the YouTube channel. So it says something about our events that even after it has taken place, there's still growing interest in members following and viewing the recordings of our events. And this is something that is quite positive, as we know that it is not always possible to attend an event at a particular time. It is good to know that members are viewing and following the recording after the events have taken place. Right, so just an update on training and development. We have attended Miley Hassa training in 2022, and this in preparation for the document management and communication projects that we have planned. And we have agreed in our strategic planning meeting that we will arrange a combined refresher session, training session, and treat it as a workshop type session to allow members to update assigned sections to the Miley Hassa platform. And we hope to have the platform updated shortly. So the table on the right is just another representation of the events that we have hosted, starting with our famous Hilly Coffee Talk. The first one focused on ChatGPT. Is it a friend or foe of university students, academics, and librarians? And that was quite an informative interaction with colleagues on where are we heading with ChatGPT, and also quite a lot of interesting ideas that were shared with one another during that session and going forward. We then had a second Hilly Coffee Talk that focused on academic librarians' experiences of library orientation in 2023. And there we had guest librarians that presented and shared with us their library orientation programs for 2023. And this certainly is leading to a joint publication on sharing best practices on library orientation, which remains very important in academic library support and support for teaching and learning activities. Then Hilik also had the One Lib, One Ref Wikipedia session in May. The Hilik Free State also hosted the OER Africa CPD framework for academic librarians in June. And we had a Hilik reading club, and this one in particular ties in with the project that Hilik is currently working on, and to tell our stories in the form of narrative inquiry in LIS research. Right, so this is just another figure representing the number of YouTube views for the events that Hilik hosted in 2023 thus far. So I would like to indicate that Hilik has maintained our cover and designing of cover pages for our Hilik coffee talks. So this is just showing you the banners that we design with every coffee talk event, and also the one for the Hilik Reading Journal Club that we host from time to time. So we have been maintaining this going forward. Right, and then just this is just a lineup of the upcoming events that we hope to host going forward, starting with Hilik workshop taking place at a conference next week. Then we have a Wikisource webinar lined up. A few more coffee talks are planned, and webinars on the ACRL framework. Another lineup of the reading club, focusing on libraries, breaking barriers through TikTok, and enhancing access and visibility. And if we can still fit this in, the escalator project is what is also planned. I've mentioned earlier that Hilik is engaged in some projects. The first one being the Mailiasa document management project and that we hope to update the Maliasa platform with our documents shortly. Then expanding on the Hilly Coffee Talk on academic librarians that I talked about earlier, that a joint publication is planned with the presenters, and also to sort of in this journey that we have been on, HELIC committee is also working on a joint publication to share experiences and also our stories about serving on HELIC National Committee. So these are our projects that we are currently working on. So our financial status, colleagues, I see Dani is in the session. I have on the slide the favorable balance of 2021, December 2021, as we still await the update on 2022 balance, but I can confirm that HELIC incurred no expenses during 2023. And then I would like to just conclude this report by once again thanking members and thanking the committee. Achieving our goals for the 2022-2023 term was only possible through the commitment and good working relationship between committee members. Well done, HELIC national team. It certainly was a challenging year, but well done, and let's keep up the good work. And on behalf of the National HELIC Committee, I would like to thank our HELIC members for your support during the 2022-2023 term. We look forward to collaborating on the initiatives and the lineup and upcoming events that we have planned for the rest of the 2023 term. And we welcome suggestions from HELIC members. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair.
Hello, Dani. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, HELIC finances, there was no expenses in 2022 that I can see, as well as in 2023. So the balance remains the same on 13,187.70.
Thank you very much, Dani, for confirming the HELIC balance. I am just going through the chat to see if I've missed anything. Yes, thank you again to the PROs, to all members that have posted updates in our social media platforms. We also are happy that HELIC members have renewed their membership, and we welcome the new members. It is really nice to see that our membership has increased for 2023. I am seeing Ingrid's comment, and I'm just going to read it out for those attending conference in person. limited space available. You need to book a spot if you want to attend that session. Okay. Leanne Brown, well done to Elite Committee. Thank you so much. If there are no questions, then I am going to carry on. And that being the next point on the agenda is the Treasurer's financial report and Maropene. I'm not sure if you have any additional comments in addition to Dani.
Marupen has another engagement,
Okay.
agent
Okay.
engagement, so he has excused himself.
Okay.
You've exactly right. He also just confirmed that there were no expenses in
Sure.
2022 and 2023.
Thank you for the update, and also once again, thank you, Dani, for confirming our current Helic bank balance. Much appreciated. That brings us then to the next point on the agenda, which is general. Colleagues, are there any other aspects that you would like to raise? Any questions or comments? The floor is open.
I just made a comment in the chat. I made a comment in the chat. I mean,
Okay.
Helic is one of the original IGs from when Liasa started. I think Fatima Daris, Fatima, you were one of the, and it was you were secretary, national secretary at that stage before, or perhaps just after. I mean, there's a whole history. There's a whole history of Helig, and I mean, we've come a long way. This has become such an active interest group. We've got, although we won't be an interest group anymore, we need to maintain running programs that running sessions that for our particular sector. So this is going to be an interesting future.
Absolutely. Hello, Fatima, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Chair. I feel the need to say something because Ingrid pulled me into this conversation. When I think the Western Cape was the first branch at branch level to initiate activities and so on under Helic. At the time, the national Helic was somewhat inactive. It was active only during conference times and so on. And can you still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. I just thought I lost the connection for a moment. And it was at the time that John Sebe and Mr. Haffy, those names I think are still familiar with colleagues, were still very active in the profession. The late, I should say, the late Mr. Haffy. And at that time I was secretary, and then it was the president-elect, Mr. Charlie Molepo, that served. And then it went to, if I'm not mistaken, it went to Tabi Singh Kutsukwani, who really, she was the one, I think, who really put Helig, the national Helig, on the map and had activities beyond the conference and the AGM. And somewhere in between, Ingrid, I think you were also chair. I'm I'm pulling Ingrid back into the conversation.
Yes, yes, there was
I think
Toby, there was Ina Smith, there was me, there was I don't see Charlene on here, but Charlene was there, and then Lynn. Am I leaving anyone out? But the team, it's been. I like to think that we've been giving people value for their membership. You know, the memberships that they've been paying. But yeah, it is
absolutely.
coming up to the end of an era. Um, and everyone's just built on everything that you know, sort of each successive national exec has built on what has come before. So yeah, and learning from each other, and yeah, broadening it. Yeah, but yeah, it's the end of, or almost the end of an era.
Yes.
So whoever represents the sector at national, you got big shoes to fill.
We certainly understand the changes that's taking place, but in a way, it actually feels sad that we reaching an end of an era. This being, well, the last HELIC committee as we know it, and going forward, that things will look very much different. So I really feel strongly about, you know, capturing the stories, and therefore I really would like us as the last HELIC committee to really tell that story, and I think it would be a nice way to end the era. So I just hope that we can achieve our goal, and that we can complete that project that we have agreed to work on as the last HELIC committee. So thank you, Ingrid, Fatima, for just also sharing and giving us just a bit of historical background into HELIC and the HELIC committee. And I do feel quite honored to be serving the committee, and as the last chairperson of HELIC, and being at the end of this era. As much as I am quite far away at the moment, I'm still very much passionate about the HELIC activities, and developing the academic librarian profession. So I'm still here to provide support, and to see us through this journey, however and whichever way that plays out in us closing HELIC committee. So I would like to just once again thank everybody for your support, and thank you, HELIC members, for your commitment to HELIC over the years, by renewing your membership, to those who have joined Lihasa recently. Welcome. There's so much that HELIC, and not just HELIC but Lihasa, has done for so many of us in terms of support, and taking us and helping us through academic librarianship. I myself can say that I've learned quite a lot, and I have developed, and this is something that I've always been grateful for, to be able to participate actively in a professional body. And I do see that we will continue developing in the new structure and how that moves forward. I remain positive that we will all work well together. So to the HELIC committee members, national members, once again, I couldn't do it alone, especially in these last days that I've been all over the place and still finding my feet in a new country. I really appreciate that you all work so well together with me, that we got to this point, that we have our AGM successfully. And thank you so much for assisting with the parts where I needed information to complete the annual report and to ensure that by the time AGM started, that I had all the information to report on. So yes, we made a great team. I'm still looking forward to us completing and running those activities that we had planned. I remain positive that it will take place. So members, please do look out for the adverts that we will post on the upcoming events. I also want to wish everybody well with conference. Unfortunately, I'm unable to participate in person this year, but I certainly will try my best to participate virtually in some of the sessions, and certainly attend the AGM. It might be at an odd time for me, but I'm happy to make that sacrifice and commitment to Lihasa. Thank you once again for your time this morning. I know it was very early for you in South Africa, for us having our AGM. But thank you so much for your time and your commitment. I want to wish you all well. Have a lovely day further, and keep up the good work. Thank you to Afa Falele for your support, your technical support on the back end, for us to be able to run a successful AGM virtually. And to everybody, take care, have a lovely day further, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you. The meeting is now